What's good, y'all, and welcome back
Hey, that was so good.
to another episode of the Hurls and Smallz show. Coming to you after week 7. Some decent games happened, some not so decent games happened, but we'll get there. But before we get there, Smallz, how you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing absolutely lovely. I didn't expect much out of this Chargers-Cardinals game, and while the Ravens were on, I wasn't tuned a whole lot in, but then the Ravens just were blowing out the Buccaneers, so I tapped in, and that game was amazing. I was impressed. And plus, the Niners lost. The Vikings were in a good game.
Lost though. Lost.
I won in
Lost
fantasy.
though.
I whipped your little ass. I don't know.
Though. They lost. Say that. Not that they were in a good game. Say they lost.
At least my team was in a good game.
Whatever, man. We can,
We both can't say that.
Just get into the show.
Anyways,
man.
how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing all right, man. You were talking about the Monday night game. I didn't get to watch a second of the Chargers and Cardinals game because first of all, it was on ESPN Plus, which I don't have. Second of all, it was a doubleheader.
You literally have my ESPN account.
I didn't know you had. I didn't even think about it, but I also didn't know you had ESPN Plus, and I also was signed back into mine. So it's not like I could have went to the ESPN. So I wasn't signed into yours. But either way, it was a doubleheader, so it would have been tough for me to watch both of them anyway. So I got to watch the majority of the Ravens and Bucks game, but that got out of hand. I thought it was gonna be a pretty decent game early, but it got out of hand because Lamar Jackson just said enough. But I'm doing all right.
MVP. MVP.
I can't complain. I'm doing all right, but it was just a weird week with a lot of injuries. A lot of injuries, man. And not a lot of and it wasn't a bunch of knick-knack injuries, a bunch of season enders or extended injuries. So prayers up to those guys, and we'll get there when we get there to those games. But as always, the people's favorite segment. I got some overreactions from week 7. I don't know how hot these are. I tried to find what I could find. A couple of teams that aren't looking too good. I got a couple hot overreactions about them. We'll start off with that team over in New York. And not the Giants. Not the Giants. The New York Jets. We did all that talking about Russell Wilson and, Justin. It didn't matter. It didn't matter. They got ran through. The Jets got ran through. So I don't even know how bold of a take this is, but the Jets are missing the playoffs, and Aaron Rodgers should be gone after this season.
By gone, what do you mean? Like he should retire?
Not on the Jets. He should not be on the Jets. The Jets should not want him back next season.
But do you think he retires is what I'm asking.
No, I don't think he retires. No. I don't think he will. No.
So am I answering both parts? Because I do believe they missed the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
But if Aaron Rodgers isn't retiring, I don't see him anywhere else, especially with his little buddy over there now. Because they boot up now.
Right.
Just cuddling together over there, sleeping in the same house and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, initially I had just Jets miss the playoffs, but I felt like I needed to add something more to that because what are they, 2-5 now? I really don't think they're making it, but
they're bad. I would agree that they missed the playoffs, but Rodgers ain't going anywhere.
Moving on, in the Super Bowl rematch, two teams that, have been going at it. It's been a one-sided affair for the past few seasons. Patrick Mahomes moves to 5-0 against the Niners. The 49ers Super Bowl window has closed.
For like this team?
This version of the 49ers window is closed.
Whoa. I don't know.
You got to pay Brock this offseason, so you're losing a lot of people. Talanoa Hufanga probably won't be back. Charvarius Ward probably won't be back. You probably paid Dre Greenlaw this offseason, depending on what he looks like when he comes back. But you're going to lose a lot of key pieces because you're going to have to pay Brock, upwards of $50 million this offseason because that's the going rate for quarterbacks now. So, a lot of good players from this team are going to be gone. So this version of the Niners window is closed.
I believe that with Brock Purdy, as much as he's a good quarterback, he's not one of my favorites in the league, but he's a good quarterback. Mm-hmm. You just signed Ayuk. Prayers up to him. Hopefully he heals properly. I don't know what the future with McCaffrey is, but as long as you have Nick Bosa and Fred Warner on that defense, I think you can build a competent defense around them, especially with how good Malik Mustafa looks on a rookie contract. The NFC, especially if you don't count the North, isn't that impressive. So I will say no, because unless you mean winning. Did you say winning the Super Bowl or just like making it there?
Their Super Bowl window, whatever you take that as, whether it's winning, getting there.
I think they can
window. Their window to win the Super Bowl.
To win the Super Bowl, then yes.
The Super Bowl is closed.
I would agree. But if it's to win the Super Bowl, I never really thought that they could do that.
Wow. So you never thought this version of the team could win the Super Bowl?
I think last year was your best chance and you blew the lead, so.
Yeah. And I can't hate on you for saying that. A lot of injuries, a lot of people that need to get paid, and not enough money to go around. So tough time to be a Niners fan right now. Tough schedule coming up, so we'll see what the season holds. Moving on.
Imagine being a Niners fan.
Moving on, man. Moving on. The longest we spent talking about any matchup in last Thursday's or last Friday's episode was the Steelers and Jets, specifically about the Steelers and them benching Justin Fields. Russell Wilson went out there, started slow, but he went out there and played some good football. So, Russell Wilson will lead the Steelers not only to the playoffs, but to the AFC North title. And I already know what your answer is going to be because look at the jersey you have on.
What? Absolutely not. The Ravens are just, even if I wasn't a fan of the Ravens, I think that they are one of the best teams in the whole league. Mm-hmm. If Lamar's struggling a little bit, you give it to Derek. If Derek ain't doing nothing, then you got the best quarterback in football right there. With a good defense, a line that continues to improve, Mark Andrews realized how to play football again. So while I hated the move of benching Justin, Russell Wilson looked very good. Mm-hmm. I cannot argue anybody. The deep balls look good. Mm-hmm. His medium. He started slow, but they just beat the brakes off of the Jets. And maybe it's because the Jets suck. Maybe it's because Russ is really like that. But his chemistry with George was there early.
Man. You would think they've been playing for years together the way they looked on Sunday. So now what about just making the playoffs?
I like that. I think beating the Ravens in the division is a major overreaction, but I do think they end up making the playoffs.
Okay. My last one. I've kind of, teased this one earlier. I've talked about this a few times. The Indianapolis Colts, enough is enough. You won this past Sunday, but my goodness, if you want a real shot to make the playoffs, you have to start Joe Flacco. You have to. The floor is yours.
So, not to defend AR, he looked god-awful. But Jonathan Taylor is the best player on this team. Mm-hmm. Anthony Richardson is handing off to Trey Sermon. Huge difference. Mm-hmm. Give him Jonathan Taylor back, and I believe that it opens up a new window. Mm-hmm. Anthony Richardson plays way too reckless, dude. His recklessness is going to lose them games at some point. Luckily, they played one of the worst teams in football. They just looked awful.
Your boy Huntley.
But he got hurt. We're not going to blame Huntley. He got hurt. I do think Anthony Richardson, this was his first game back off injury, so he expected rust a little bit. He'll be all right. He'll figure it out. I have faith. He hasn't looked good this season past, the first game?
Yeah.
But I didn't expect them to have a very high ceiling in the first place, though. So, Joe Flacco was just on Manning Cast tonight, and he was like,
"Go ahead."
They asked him like, and does your heart have you rooting for the Ravens a little bit? And he said, "No. If I'm not on the team, I wish all of the other 31 teams in the league could lose somehow."
That's how it should be. If you're still in the league, you shouldn't be rooting for another team. But you just, damn.
I'm sorry.
Damn. What were you saying? I don't even remember anymore.
No, you got it.
Damn, bro. We'll move on, bro. I literally don't even remember what I was going to say anymore. I don't even remember.
And I didn't even cut you. I didn't even cut you off this time. I was still in the middle of a sentence.
Like, I have no clue what I was gonna say, bro. My brain is fried, bro. I have no clue what I was gonna say.
You were just gonna say Anthony Richardson's a dog, and I was gonna agree with you. We can move on.
Absolutely not. Oh,
Peter.
If Jonathan Taylor comes back and this continues, how long do you think you give Anthony Richardson before you say maybe you should put in Flacco?
By this continues, what do you mean?
Like
him playing
this
bad?
Quarterback play, yeah, this play continues even with Jonathan Taylor.
It depends on the record.
Okay, because
if he's looking subpar and they continue to win, then there's no reason to put Flacco back in. But their defense
4-3 right now, yeah.
Their defense is like way better than I expected them to, especially with the injuries they had early. And with Michael Pittman getting hurt and still playing through it somehow, I expected their offense to tank some, and it just hasn't. They're winning games.
Okay. We can move on and get into. No. Go ahead and mention what happened in this 4-man fantasy.
Before we do the 4-man fantasy, we do 2 segments on Thursdays. The 4-man fantasy and our bold predictions. And this is only our third week of football doing the bold predictions, and I was 0 for 7. I can report. I hit one.
Finally.
Tank Bigsby, 118 yards, 2 touchdowns. Man was going crazy. The Patriots absolutely stink. Juju Smith got hurt.
Yeah.
As Tom Brady would say, Juju Schuster-Smith got hurt early. He didn't even get a chance. Jacoby didn't end up playing for the Raiders, and Jerry Jeudy had 1 catch for 18 yards, so that one was a major miss.
Yeah. And
then not a single coach got fired yet.
Nope.
Because the Jaguars just want to win, so Doug Peterson gets another week.
Yep.
Nick Sirianni get another
week. Yep. But we can get into the 4-man fantasy draft. Not too much to say.
I had Lamar Jackson, and he didn't have Lamar Jackson. So
I had Jaden Daniels who got hurt.
Just go ahead.
I got Deebo Samuel who played 3 snaps and then sat out.
We're not going to give you excuses, bro.
And now he's hospitalized with pneumonia. What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? I got players getting sick. And
That's
I got
your guy. You should have called him.
And told him, yo, I got this 4-man fantasy that means absolutely nothing. No money on the line. Just go ahead and play for me. Yeah.
Reputation. Man. I'm up on you 3-2 now. You start up 2-0, and I had to lock in, and you getting cooked now.
Let's get into this Week 7 recap.
Let's get into our recap of the pick'ems. So.
Go ahead.
We need to lock in what we're doing. Are we going week by week?
Look at him. Look at him.
I asked a question that you can pick. How is that a look at him?
Now that Hurlins has a good week, it's now we have to decide on one or the other. It's
because we're halfway through the fucking season.
Let me speak. Now that Hurlins is climbing back, clawing his way back, now we have to decide. When Smallz was leading the entire season, it's we can do whatever. Now Hurlins is leading, and it's now we have to make a decision. We have to decide this week. Man, we can do whatever you want to do. We can do whatever you want to do.
We're going to do both. We're going to do it. We're going to do both. Right. You want to just yap on here, so we're going to do both. We're tied at 62 now, and I'm still up on you 3-2-2.
Okay. So we both have 62 correct, and so it's 3-2-2. Okay.
Yeah, we tied twice. You beat me twice. I beat you 3 times.
Okay, I think we should go honestly, I think we should go just week by week instead of the games.
Man, I should be beating you total too. I want to pick the motherfucking Saints because the Broncos are just weak, and the Saints is like the worst.
That don't got nothing to do with me.
Frosty came into chat and was like, I post a thing every week. I want y'all to give me more love. We're going to give you love when your Saints step it the fuck up, Frosty. Your team is dog shit. We appreciate your love, but your team is dog shit.
Yeah. I didn't even see him say that, but
it was in like Ants chat or something like that. Yeah. We love you, Frosty.
Shout out
to you,
Frosty.
Man, the Saints suck.
Absolutely.
And unless Michael Thomas gets signed, I don't give
nothing. Let's move on.
We should talk about y'all.
Let's move on.
You're just a Michael Thomas hater for some reason. Don't even want to hear his name.
Let's move on.
He come in and be your best receiver on the Niners right now.
You mean when every other receiver is hurt? Sure. Now let's move on.
When healthy, he would have been your third receiver.
Absolutely not. Absolutely
he is better
not.
Than Juwan. He is better than Juwan.
We're not about to have a Michael Thomas segment. We're not about to do this. We're not about to do this. We're not going to have
would you sign him right now?
Fuck no. Fuck no. Hell no.
Fun with Ricky.
We have two rookie wide receivers. Why would we give Michael Thomas any burn over them? Oh, okay.
Because your Super Bowl window closed, as you said.
But to open that window back up, we should sign Michael Thomas. If anything, adding Michael Thomas is us putting fucking shutters on our window. He is not adding shit to this team. Nothing. Okay. Nothing. Okay. There's a reason he's sitting here just like me and you and not on the field on Sunday.
When he come over here and he the second best on the team.
Yeah, when there's no receivers over there. You name me two teams that have no receivers as of right now that Michael Thomas would go to and play. Yeah, when the Niners' entire wide receiver room is on crutches and in the hospital, yeah, he would get burned. When the Ravens have never had any competent wide receivers out of one at a time, besides one at a time, you're sure he'd get some burn over there. Sure. When Nelson Aguilar is a featured part of the Ravens fucking wide receiver corps, sure, he'll get burned over there. My goodness, man. Now let's move on into this Week 7 review. We just had a Michael Thomas segment for
Jim
no
Harbaugh.
reason.
Give him a call, bro. Give him a call.
Another team that just has no receivers.
I didn't say nothing about them. I just said give him a call. You so excited to move on to this Patriots game?
I'm just so excited to stop talking about Michael Thomas.
Because you a hater for no reason.
Because he's not good.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Oh my goodness, man.
Patriots not at Jaguars.
Go ahead,
versus
man.
Jaguars in London. Yep. The 1-5 Patriots and the 1-5 Jaguars. Someone got to get their second win. And unfortunately for us, who was rooting against Doug Peterson, you never want to see a guy lose his job. But Doug, you suck. I want to see you lose your job. I want to see the whole coaching staff lose your jobs. Go back to college. Trevor Lawrence had one of his less impressive games of his season, and they pull it out because the Patriots don't have anything. Jabril Peppers, please figure something out, whether you go into jail or whether you come back to the league, because they need you, man. They need you.
Right. Uh-huh.
I don't want to talk about this team. If you've seen anything about Bill Belichick, he loved Jared Mayo, and he already turned it on Jared Mayo because he's going to come out and say our defense is soft.
Yeah.
Or you just don't know how to call defense.
But
since the first week against the Bengals, you've gotten progressively worse.
Yeah, definitely. After week 1, we said, oh, this could be a team that could stay in games because of their defense, but no, it doesn't matter. But you said this is one of Trevor's least impressive games. I thought Trevor was pretty solid in this game.
He wasn't bad.
I thought he was pretty good in this game, but the star of the show, like we mentioned earlier, was Tank Bigsby and the way he was able to run the ball. At a point in the second half, they had ran the ball 19 consecutive times. That's how good they were running the ball. Tank did his thing. Trevor Etienne or
Travis,
the Pats are just, or did I say Trevor? Sorry. But the Pats are just that bad. Is that what you're going to say? Or?
Absolutely.
Yeah. But the Jags,
we both like Tank, but.
And the Jags finally, the Jags went down 10 early. And if this was any other week, it'd be like, oh, it's over. The Jags have no fight. They're never going to fight back. But, they fought back this week. So I was happy to see them at least, show some effort, show some willingness, and, actually want to, win this game and not just giving up and just, saying, here, you can have this one. But BTJ looked good. That pass from Trevor, that deep ball was beautiful.
Why are you making that BTJ?
Yep, Brian Thomas Jr.
I know his name.
But
he's their cornerstone. Him and Trevor are their cornerstones. No disrespect to Tank or Etienne, but those are their two guys. Go ahead.
Absolutely. And they showed Travis on the sideline, and he was just smiling. Every 2 seconds, he just had a smile on his face. Watching your backup just take your job, though. Like, come on, man. I get it. You're trying to be a team guy, but, that's all I got to say. But as far as the Pats, they couldn't run the ball for a damn thing. And I said this earlier in the season with Bo Nix. If you got a rookie quarterback, if you got any quarterback, you would love him to have a run game, so you're not one-dimensional.
Man, Drake,
but you have a rookie quarterback, and you have him with no run game. What more do you want him to do? But Drake did what he could, but he just had, as I said, they were one-dimensional. And the Jags did not have to worry about the run; they could just sell out for the pass. That's all I got to say.
You taking Demario Douglas or Cortland Sutton?
Cortland Sutton, easily.
The Drake May looked very, very competent, but man, Absolutely. He just has no weapons, and we've disrespected the Patriots' weapons all season, and I hate to say it again, but you gotta have a main guy. Demario can be a good little slot.
8 receptions for 92 yards.
Hunter Henry. That's my point.
Yep.
Yeah. They gotta draft your main weapon in the first round this year, and then build that offensive line, because the Patriots' offensive line might be the worst entire unit in
Absolutely.
football.
It's bad. It is bad.
We can move on.
Yeah, I was just about to say we can move on. I got none.
Shout out Parker Washington.
Yeah. Moving on to, the Lions and Vikings. Your Vikings get their first loss of the season. One of us predicted that. This is your team, so I'll let you take the floor.
Blake Cashman was out in this game. One of the best defensive players on the Lions. Not the Lions, on the Vikings. But between Andrew Van Ginkel, Jonathan Gennard, and Ivan Pace, I really like what they're doing over there at their linebackers. And on the other side of the ball, linebacker Alex Anzalone is like the pure captain this season now with Hutch out.
Hutch out, yep.
And Hutch being out is so sad. But this is a game the Vikings should have won. The Lions don't get pressure, and they don't blitz you, and they want to run man. That is just a recipe for what the Vikings should love. Between Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson, they should have cooked, and Justin Jefferson cooked. But
Jordan Addison wasn't on a crumb.
I believe this game, and it's hard to say, but I believe this game was heavily lost by one play. Aaron Jones comes out of the flats wide open on the left side of the field, and I believe if he catches it, he damn near gets a touchdown. But instead, he tries to force it over to Jordan Addison, and they pick the ball off, and they go up like 17-7, or I don't remember what the score was, but it ended up being a 2-possession game, and they had to crawl their way back into it. Aaron Jones makes this run offense look way better than what it is. When he's not in there.
Absolutely.
It's bad. Aaron Jones is just absolutely phenomenal.
And he was on the other side, he didn't even know if he was going to play or not, but he came out and looked great.
Yeah, he was honest about it too. He said he wasn't sure how he was going to end up feeling. Dave Montgomery got smoked at one play, and he ended up limping off the field, and it's like, oh no, that looks weak, because he was putting no pressure on it. And he just comes back. He rides the bike for a little bit and just comes back like nothing happened. And he ended up fumbling, which was huge. But it didn't matter.
It didn't matter. I was just about to say, it didn't matter because they had Jahmyr Gibbs who balled out. Literally all I had written down here for the Vikings was they could not stop the run. Jahmyr Gibbs did whatever he wanted. Forget the run. The running back. Yeah, they could not stop him. And I had Jared Goff. If like you said MVP earlier for Lamar Jackson, I can't be mad at it. Jared Goff is right there as well. These past few weeks, he has been balling his ass off. He started the season kind of slow, and those games were kind of on him. He was kind of they were winning in spite of him to begin the season. But Jared Goff, these past 3 games, it's insane. I think he has 19 incompletions in the past 3 or 4 games. It's ridiculous. He's playing his ass off right now. I literally put down Jared Goff MVP talks because that's how well he's been playing.
He's been great.
And if he's playing like this, and how Jahmyr Gibbs just played, if D-Mon can get back healthy and get back to his normal self, there's no reason why the Lions shouldn't walk through the NFC. Their only competition will probably be out of their division, and probably the Vikings or the Packers. But other than that, they should walk through the NFC. That's how good they look, and that's how wide open the NFC is. But in terms of Hutch, they weren't really able to replace him. They tried to use a bunch of different guys, and it just didn't really work. Sam Darnold really just...
It's only been 1 week, though.
But it's only been 1 week, so yeah. They either need to go make a move for somebody, or they'll just, figure it out and, find a guy.
And Sammy looked good still. He just had the one bonehead play that was just... It hurt them really bad. And this game was lost by the Vikings offense. Ivan Pace scoops up the fumble forced by Josh Metellus, as I said. And he runs it in for the touchdown. They get the Lions to punt the ball. So the Vikings got the ball back with 5 minutes. And they go 3 and out, dude. They go 3 and out. You just got to choose some clock, and you can't. The Lions just made them pay. Kick the field goal to win it. But we can move on.
Mm-hmm. Moving on to the Bills and Titans. The Bills beat the Titans 34-10. The Bills kind of made this like it was early on. It was like Buffalo. What the hell is what are you doing? Why was this a close game to begin with? And the Titans have a couple. The Titans have a couple of those where it's like
not
they're
even
in the game. And then
they was whooping ass.
They're in it, and then they just fall apart at the end. Whereas, and I haven't written down that the Titans feel like the Titans feel like they start decent, but can never just finish the job, ever.
And the Bills are the exact opposite. They can't start, but then they pick it up.
They did it against, who was it? The Cardinals week 1, where the Cardinals looked like they were about to mop the floor with the Bills. Then the Bills just came back and scored however many unanswered. But in the first half, the Bills were 1 for 5 on passes that were 10 or more yards down the field. And in the second half, Josh Allen was 6 for 8, 114 yards and a touchdown. So like we said, I don't know what it is with the Bills, but they just cannot start right, but they'll just put up a bunch of points on you in a hurry. And Gregory Rousseau, he's been having a solid season, but he had like 6 quarterback hits in this game. I think that was the most since like 2022. He's playing his ass off. But yeah, like we said, I don't have much to say about this game. The Bills got right towards the end. They scored on like 5 straight possessions. But yeah, it's the Titans, so I really don't have much to say about this game. They were supposed to win, and that's exactly what they. Yeah.
Will Levis ended up being a late scratch, and Mason Rudolph was the starter. And as soon as I saw that, I was just out on the Titans. I don't like Mason Rudolph. Tyjae Spears was out, so Tony Pollard was supposed to be their main guy, and Tony Pollard ended up getting banged up as well. The guy I want to talk about is Keon Coleman. He had his best game of the season. He had 125 yards on 4 receptions and 7 targets. But that's not even what I'm super impressed with. Yeah, he had a great overall game, but on the play that Amari Cooper scored, I don't know if you saw it or not, but he looked over and was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And Keon told him what he was supposed to be doing, and Coop scored. Right now, Keon is going to help Coop in this offense. But in the long run, I think what Amari Cooper is going to be able to do for Keon Coleman is going to do wonders, dude. I'm so high on Keon Coleman. I think that he is the future of this offense. Him, James Cook, and Josh Allen is just a magical 3 to have back there. I'm jealous. I'm completely jealous. Calvin Ridley, I don't know what to say about him anymore. I defended him last week on the targets that he was receiving. He had one this week where he ran a curl and it hit him right in the hands and he dropped it. I don't want to say he's cooked, but he's looking cooked. 1 second. He got, maybe Calvin Ridley made me think of it. News came out today about Jameson Williams. He might be suspended 2 games.
I think he is. He is. He's suspended 2 games.
I don't think it's got confirmed yet, but
because I've seen that tweet. But yeah, no, go ahead.
That's all I wanted to say. Stupidity. You get suspended for gambling, and now it's
what was it? PEDs,
enhancers.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Yeah, we can move on.
And he's having such a good season too, man. Such a good season. I once again did not click record.
You're good. Go ahead. But moving on.
You ready to move on?
Yeah. The Dolphins and Colts. The Colts get the win 16-10, improved to 4-3. Low key, over 500 team. By the way they played at times, you would think they wouldn't be this good, but 4-3 on the season. As you said, Anthony Richardson made his return. Tyler Huntley did get banged up in this game, but like my overreaction earlier, I really do think you have to strongly consider putting in Joe Flacco if you want to. It depends on what your aspirations are for this season. If you want to be a team that's you're not whether it's Joe Flacco or Anthony Richardson, you're not contending. But if you want to be a team that has a shot at making the playoffs, I think your best chance is Joe Flacco. But if you just want to develop your guy, then go. I'm all for playing. I'm all for playing Anthony Richardson. So it really depends on what they want this season to be. But, once they get Jonathan Taylor back, like you said, I think things will open up for Anthony Richardson. It'll make things a lot easier on him. He won't have to be the guy that the running game is relying on. It can, rely on JT. But other than that, the Dolphins look like they're getting Tua back pretty soon, so that should open things up for them.
He pissed me off, dude.
They just said, we're not going to get a guy. We're just banking on Tua coming back, so hopefully Tua comes back and looks good. Go ahead, though.
Tua's practicing now, or he's supposed to be practicing next week, and he'll probably be questionable, whatever. They asked him, are you going to wear a Guardian cap? And he answered the question like it was the dumbest question he had ever heard in his entire life. People were saying you should retire, dude. The Guardian cap is there to help you. Yeah, you might look a little bit goofier, but I think they're cool. Like, they're I like Tua, but that was just stupid in my opinion. You don't have to wear it, but to act like it was a stupid question, be better. The Dolphins scored first in this game. Jonnu Smith had a nice little touchdown, and I was thinking, this is it. This is Tyler Huntley's game to show that he's not a bum. Unfortunately, he ends up getting hurt. The Colts were weak as hell.
Yeah, that's why it's surprising that they're 4-3. Yeah.
All I want to say is that I think that since Tua has been out, Mike McDaniel has confirmed that he's not in the upper echelon of coaches. He's cool, but he's not one of those guys. He's not a Kevin O'Connell. He's not a. I don't even think he's as good as Dable. Well, Andy Reid's one of the greatest of all time. I'm saying, like.
Yeah. No, I get you. Kyle Shanahan, Kevin Stefanski, Matt LaFleur, Sean McVay.
I wouldn't say Kevin Stefanski right now, but yeah, you get the point.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
You get the point. And on the other side, Tyreek Hill. You've been bad, bro. And yeah, you don't have your starting quarterback. But if you're supposed to be the best in the league, you can't be this bad. Justin Jefferson does it with anyone you throw back there.
Nick Mullins, Josh Dobbs, Sam Darnold. Exactly. It really doesn't matter. Yeah. But yeah, him and Jalen Waddle
looked great last year with his backup.
2 catches for 19 yards were him and Jalen Waddle. 2 catches for 19 yards. Them combined.
Impressive. That's good. Proud of them.
Man.
They had less yards than Alec Ingold.
Moving on. There was not much to say about that game. Like I said, the Colts, if you want to compete, I think you go Flacco. But if you just want to develop your guy, I can't hate on it either. But moving on to a pretty disappointing game, to be honest. I thought this was going to be one of the better games of the... That is so crazy, right? I thought this was going to be one of the better games of the weekend. The Seahawks beat the Falcons 34-14. I was really disappointed, not even because the Falcons lost, but just in the fashion they lost. Like, if you lost and it was a back and forth game, both teams were scoring, but 34-14, and the Falcons beat themselves. They really beat themselves. I think it was Kirk Cousins had 2 interceptions. Then he had the fumble that got returned for a touchdown, I think. And then I think they had like 9 penalties for like 72 yards. They just beat themselves, man. Beat themselves and just gave them no chance to win this game. None. And their pass rush, my goodness, it is god awful. And that's always been the thing with the Falcons for like the past like decade. They've always had a terrible pass rush. They have 6 sacks through 7 weeks. 6 sacks. Go ahead.
They got Judon for nothing, dude.
Nothing.
He just hasn't been doing much.
And I can't even be mad at him because he's probably going to see all the double teams in the world. Who else are they supposed to, care about on that D line?
And he hasn't been like the worst in the league by any means. He's still having a decent little season. It's just for his standards, obviously.
And then against the defensive line or an offensive line like the Seahawks, where you're supposed to be fucking licking your fucking chops against the Seahawks, you should be coming into that day saying, oh yeah, we're getting after the quarterback today. We're getting after Geno. But my goodness, they are bad. Go ahead.
Geno played his ass off, man.
Yep. He did.
I said I loved this game, and you thought it was because of Kirk playing bad. I didn't care who won this game. I just said
I don't know why I just didn't get why you loved it. Go ahead, though.
I didn't care who won this game. I was okay with going either way. But I watch football in a selfish way. The guys that I wanted to play good balled. Can you tell me who the leading receiver was over there in Atlanta?
Kyle Pitts. You're going to say Kyle Pitts. You're going to say Noah Fant.
Yep.
You're happy he balled. And who else would you say? Darnell Mooney.
I love DK Metcalf.
DK. You are a DK guy. Yeah.
But Noah Fant had one of his best games of his season. Honestly, one of the best games since he's been a Seahawk. He wasn't like... he didn't boom by any means, but he had a good game, and he hasn't had a lot of good games since getting there. Kyle Pitts, I think we have finally seen his arrival. He's not the superstar that anybody wanted him to be, but he's consistent. We found that
sweet spot for him. Exactly. We found that he's going to give you 50 to 70 yards, and you're just going to have to live with it, and that's okay. If that's what I'm getting from my tight end on a weekly basis, I'm perfectly fine with that.
And if he stays here, whatever. But he's still so young where he can make another leap. the Kyle Pitts that we were seeing the last few years was not the Kyle Pitts that anybody wanted. And also, this game excited me because Jackson Smith and Jigba had a 35-yard pass.
Yeah.
I love a little trickery like that. Bijan Robinson, he's been balling lately, but the Falcons just didn't have anything going for them over there. The Seahawks showed their ass from start to finish. They just did whatever they wanted.
Yeah.
This isn't a game we have to talk long about.
Man, I was really disappointed. I was looking forward to this game because I said in the preview this could be. I think I said this was gonna be like a 30 to 30 some game, and it would be one of the highest scoring games of the weekend. But no, it really disappointed. But moving on.
For you.
What's that?
One of them pulled through for the 30 points.
My boy Kurt couldn't do it. We didn't get to see any swag surfing. But moving on. The Packers beat the Texans. The Packers moved to 5-2, beating the Texans 24-22. You can go ahead and begin if you would like.
The first touchdown of this game was like a Tucker Kraft sweet diving catch touchdown, and I was like, wow, that was nice.
Yeah.
I love Jordan Love, but C.J. Stroud's a Buckeye. I was rooting for the Texans, and Stephon Diggs is my favorite player in the league. If it's not Lamar, it's one of them.
Mm-hmm.
However, this Texans line
that's all I had written
down. Decent line, but they've got destroyed.
They've been god awful. They've been god awful. They have been bad.
CJ had no time on any drop back. He ended with 86 yards, and CJ Stroud is a top 10 quarterback in this league. If anybody that watches football, you can't tell me he's not a top 10 quarterback. 86 yards is some Tyler Huntley shit. That's unacceptable.
Yeah.
And you can't say like he's the Broncos or the Patriots where he doesn't have a run game going, because Joe Mixon was absolutely incredible.
Ball in.
He had 130 yards.
Yeah.
I picked the Texans because I said that Jordan Love would make mistakes and C.J. Stroud wouldn't. And C.J. Stroud didn't make mistakes. He just didn't have any chances to do anything. And Jordan Love made his mistakes. He had 2 picks that were both his fault. Like, some you get tips and it's like, it wasn't really his fault. They were both his fault.
Yeah.
This is a game the Packers should 100% lose, but they just got to C.J. so many times. He got sacked 4 times.
And with aside from Jordan Love's 2 interceptions, the Packers should have been up by a lot more. But those turnovers, they really just cost themselves, but they still found a way to win. But yeah, CJ was pressured on 46% of his dropbacks. 46% and got sacked 4 times. It was bad. We were saying this entire time Joe Mixon was out because the Texans offense hasn't been able to put it together. We're like, once Joe Mixon gets there, they'll be just fine. And now Joe Mixon gets back. He keeps it up, plays a hell of a game, but this offensive line was god awful, and the Packers just got after CJ all day. Yep. All day. He looked terrible. Terrible, bro. That line was garbage. It was bad, man. It was bad. But shout out to the Packers. We're 5-2 now. I think their losses are to the Vikings and the Eagles, and you can't be mad. They're 2 good teams you lost to. Other than that, you're 5-0. So I can't be mad at them. I can't complain. So the Packers are that entire division, man, is just looking like it's gonna be one of them to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl, whether it's the Lions, the Packers, or the Vikings. I want to say the Bears are in a tier under those 3 teams, but we'll see as the season progresses. But I don't think you can say anything else, but it's going to be one of the teams in the North to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl.
It just hit me. I should have made it like thrown an overreaction at you. We're going to see both Norths in the Super Bowl. The AFC North and the NFC North will be represented in the Super Bowl. Anyways,
no. We're not. I'm not even going to bash you for saying that. I would want to agree, but I just cannot say for sure that it's going to be a North team when Patrick Mahomes is still undefeated, when he hasn't even been playing phenomenal football yet. So I just can't say
he's been bad.
And they're 6-0. And they're 6-0. They're 6-0 and he hasn't been good.
But shout out Romeo Doubs before we move on. It was theorized that he got suspended that one game because he missed practice for not getting enough touches. And if that's the reason, I get it, dude. He's a dog. He is an absolute maniac over there. I think coming into the season, I said that he was my pick to be their top guy. And in the first 2 weeks, it wasn't really looking that way. It would look like it was Jaden Reed, and even Christian Watson was getting more targets than him. But Romeo Doubs has arrived, and it makes me happy. We can move on to Bengals at Browns.
Bengals beat the Browns 21-14. The Bengals are 3-4. They are right there. A couple more wins and they can make some noise in the AFC, right back into things. But what I wanted to say about this game, man, T. Higgins, he opens up. They only put up 21 points, but he opens up that offense so much. And you can tell just watching them with him back, they missed him a lot. They missed him a lot. He opens up that offense so much. Joe Burrow has another guy he can rely on, and it's not that bunch of tight ends they have, whether it's Mike Gesicki or Eric All or Ishio Voss.
I like Eric All.
Yeah, he's been solid, yeah. But the Chase Brown didn't really have it going today, so you have T. Higgins who leads the league leads them in receiving yards on Sunday. So it's just good to have him back. But what I really wanted to say is we've bashed Deshaun Watson this season, rightfully so.
People are so crazy.
But to see him go down with an Achilles injury, and you knew right away because they showed the replay and you could see his calf just pop, so you knew what it was right away. And to people cheering for it, like the crowd standing up and celebrating him getting hurt. I get it. I understand. And even people we know, like, I get it. I understand Deshaun Watson has done some things in the past, but I'm not asking you, or I'm not saying.
So glad you think that way.
I'm not saying you should be, sending him a DM saying, I'm so sorry for what happened to you, or I'm wishing you the best.
Absolutely not.
But you also don't have to be celebrating another man being hurt.
Never root for injuries. Never cheer for injuries.
I don't get it. And again, I know he's done some things in the past, so people don't like the guy, but I'm not asking you to
I don't like the guy.
Send your best wishes to him.
I think he's a scumbag.
Yeah, I'm not telling you to send your best wishes. Yeah, go ahead.
He got put up on that cart and he was like balling, dude.
Like
he just covered his face. It made me sad.
Me too. He was like, they have a shot of him where he's sitting there fine. Like, he's just sitting there. And then you hear the boos as he's getting carted off, and he just breaks down crying. And it was so sad. It was so sad. So like I said, you don't have to, love the guy or, hope he recovers or anything. But you
never
just
root for injuries.
Cheering. Yeah. And then even the players went out there and said the same thing at the podium. Like, Jameis Winston had like a pretty good rant. Like,
oh my gosh,
yeah,
dude.
It was so good. It was so good. It was so good. He was talking about where he came from.
He's still a human being.
Exactly. And Myles Garrett did as well. He talked about it, how the city should be disappointed, and him as a player, he's disappointed. But yeah, I really don't have much to say from this game other than that Deshaun Watson, him getting hurt and people celebrating it. But yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if we don't ever see him again.
I honestly wouldn't be either, because if it's not with the Browns, I don't think we see him again. So if the Browns decide to bring him back, whether that's as a backup or they plan him as for him to be their starter next season, I think it'll be with the Browns. But other than that, I don't think we do either. Because coming off the Achilles, he wasn't playing well, and all this stuff he has on his name, I don't see another team picking him up. But if it's the Browns that he sticks with, sure, I could see it. But another team, no, I don't think so.
I liked Dorian Thompson-Robinson last year.
Coming out
of
go
the draft,
to like UCLA
preseason,
and he looked good in the preseason. I was like, whoa, DTR could be solid. He could be a decent little guy for the Browns if things don't go right at quarterback. Deshaun isn't looking right. They have not their guy, but a guy who could be a bridge quarterback. He could be decent for them. But go ahead.
And then we get this news and not even an hour before. It was like last minute that Jameis Winston has been demoted to third to what is it called, security or
in case of emergency or whatever.
Emergency quarterback. And it just pissed me off. There's no reason to be doing that. And Dorian Thompson-Robinson, as I said, I like the guy, and he is lightning fast. But he can't throw the ball if his life depended on it. If you held a gun to his head, he's going to miss the target.
Yeah. He's bad.
So if they don't start Jameis next week and let Stefanski go.
I won't be watching. If it's not Jameis, I won't be watching. I will not be watching. I don't care who they
And
play.
you cannot convince me that it's Kevin Stefanski, because he is way too good to be doing this bullshit, man. Jameis Winston has done everything you want as a backup quarterback, and he has the talent to. The team loves him. The fans love him.
He was like, it was a pleasure. It was a pleasure playing behind Deshaun. He's my brother. I will go to war for him. The way he speaks, the way he carries himself. I just don't know how you don't insert him into the starting lineup just based off of the energy he'll give the team. Not even about his play, just the energy and the vibes he brings to the team. But yeah.
And shout out Nick Chubb. Got a touchdown.
Yeah, man. Yeah, he didn't do much on the ground. If you look at his averages, it wasn't too good. But he got into the end zone, and that's really all that matters. So shout out to Nick Chubb.
We can talk about this next game for about 12 seconds and then move on.
What is this next game?
Eagles at Giants.
Yeah.
Final score 28-3. Daniel Jones, you look absolutely atrocious.
I'm done.
Jalen Hurts.
I'm done with the Giants. I've been saying it for the past few weeks. Oh, they're my upset team. The Giants have been decent, but they've been decent, but they're if you look at their record, it's not good, but they're fake decent. I'm done. You let me down against the Bengals. You let me down today. Hell, even if you didn't win the game 28-3, we goodness.
Both picked them.
Yeah. And the Giants owner or GM, I forget who it was, says, I will lose sleep if Saquon goes to a division rival like the Eagles. Well, he did, and he killed you guys. So he must have not slept for the past 3 months. Because
Belichick gave him a little rant. He was like, the best player in your franchise. You give him a couple more million, and he's still with you.
Now he's in your division. Yep.
He showed his ass, dude. He was... He dominated. There was just no point in this game where he looked even mediocre. He was absolutely incredible. And that's all that happened in this game. It was
literally
Saquon, 55-yarder, Saquon, 43-yarder, Saquon. And it makes me happy because I adore Saquon. On the other front,
it was him and
Jones,
AJ
I'm
Brown.
A fan.
But yeah, go ahead.
AJ Brown's a dog. Jalen Hurts didn't do a lot in this game. He had 114 total yards. But that little loft he had for the touchdown to AJ Brown was beautiful. The Giants had no run game. Daniel Jones had no time. I'm not blaming Daniel Jones completely for this loss, but he looked shitty too. Yeah. And Drew Lock comes in, and they said that Drew Lock's not going to even compete for starter. They just wanted a spark. They didn't get it. Drew Lock wasn't doing nothing either. Shout out Saquon. We can move on.
Yeah, I'm really disappointed in the Giants, man. And like I said, not even because it's the fact that they didn't win. It's just in the fashion you're losing these games. But yeah, we could.
We're moving on to another shitter.
Another game. There's some games where we don't have to spend much time on at all.
This Rams 4 o'clock slate was atrocious.
Why were there 3 games and they were bad? Because I was saying it's probably because they wanted all eyes on Chiefs Niners since it's a Super Bowl rematch.
And they wanted
everybody watching. But my goodness, that wasn't a good game either. So the 4 o'clock slate just tanked. But with this game, the Rams beat the Raiders 20-15. I don't have much to say about this game. Gardner Minshew is some hot garbage. He is awful, man. And I was a Gardner guy because I was like, if Gardner's your backup, you're feeling great because he can come in for a game or two and give you some life. Minshew mania was running wild in Jacksonville. He almost got the Colts to the playoffs last season, but my goodness,
he owes Shane Steichen his life.
I didn't know it was gonna be this bad because what the hell happened? What happened, bro? He is god awful. Like I was a Minshew guy. I was like, he could be decent. He's a low end starter to one of the best backups in the league, but he should not be playing anywhere anymore. He's piss poor. You have a chance to win this game, and then when he throws an interception to just seal it, I flip back to the game, and every time I flip to this game, the Rams are celebrating on defense because Gardner just turned it over again. Literally every single time. They're just celebrating. Go ahead.
I can't disagree that Gardner's dog shit, but he has no weapons, dude.
No.
Like, I've said it for a couple teams, but the Raiders might have the worst weapons in football. Alexander Madison ran the ball 23 times. You trade away Devontae for a 3rd-round pick. You don't have Jacoby Myers. You got Trey Tucker and Brock Bowers. And if in a perfect world, when they drafted Michael Mayer, I was such a fan of him, dude. I was like, this is your tight end of the future.
Yep.
And then you come into this season and you draft Brock Bowers, which nobody can disagree with because he is an absolute freak show. And Michael Mayer, I don't even know if you saw it. He got put on the NFI list for personal reasons. He hasn't played the last, I think, 2 or 3 weeks. Nobody really knows what's going on with him, so hopefully it's not anything super serious. I like the guy a lot. They desperately need him.
Every time you look at the Raiders receiving stats, it's Brock Bowers at the top. Then it's just a bunch of nothing under him. A bunch of nothing. And it's a wide gap. It'd be Brock like it is right now. Brock Bowers, 10 catches, 93 yards. Next is 3 for 36. And it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse. It looks terrible every single week, man. But these are 2 teams that probably we won't be talking about much at the end of the season. So this game really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. We both took the Rams and they won this game. And it really wasn't even because of Matthew Stafford. This defense
didn't have to do anything.
Nothing, because the defense gave him the ball back 3 different times. Because Gardner Minshew was piss poor.
There's so much season left to go.
And he fumbled. And Gardner fumbled.
It is Jared versus Rookie of the Year to lose. defensive rookie of the year. But
I think one of us called that, but I think I'm remembering wrong, maybe. But
actually, I think Chop Robinson still is in the race.
we can.
I know Max Crosby is Raiders diehard, right? Like
I think I know what you're gonna say, but yeah, go ahead.
Please move him.
I just don't think you can. I just don't think you can. For like an outside fan, like that's not a fan of the Raiders, sure, you would say that, but I just don't think
I know.
That's
why I said I know he's thick and thin Raider, but I don't want to see him. You would love to see him somewhere where he could
win. Him and Myles Garrett should be asking out, thinking about somewhere else where he could go win. Something like Myles Garrett across from Micah Parsons.
Myles Garrett's not going anywhere.
But no, they're not. But we can move on.
Myles Garrett.
Go ahead.
Myles Garrett and Nick Chubb will both retire as Browns.
I wouldn't be surprised.
If they let either one of them walk, the fan base would absolutely go berserk. Dude.
Absolutely, and that's why I think Max Crosby is there for the long haul.
Aiden O'Connell got put on IR today with a fractured thumb, so we're going to see more of Gardner for the next 4 weeks. So put on your seatbelt because that is going to be a ride.
Moving on.
I will pick against the Raiders for the rest of the season. Holy shit! What are we moving on to, bro?
The Commanders absolutely whooping on the.
I'm not talking
on the Carolina Panthers. All I'm gonna say is, please, Bryce Young.
Don't even say it. Don't even say it. Fuck, dude, bro.
Like, what do you watch? What are you trying to see anymore now? Like, what are you trying to see? I get, like, you put it in Andy Dalton. I understood it. You wanted to see if it was a Bryce Young thing or if it was a team thing. You know what it is. You know what it is now. This team is god awful. So what is Andy Dalton still playing for? But enough of that. And to the Commanders,
he came out today and said Andy's our guy. And I like Dave Canales, dude. I like Dave Canales.
He wasn't gonna say anything.
I like Dave Canales, and you bench Bryce. It was never the right decision. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. It was never the right decision to bench Bryce Young. He is the #1 pick.
No, go ahead, man. Let it off. Let it out, man.
Jaden Daniels got a rib injury.
Yeah,
he's considered week to week. Marcus Mariota had a top 10 performance as a quarterback this week. He got signed by the
Commanders.
So
the Commanders.
The Falcons. He got signed as the Falcons to be their starter, and the Falcons are dog shit. They didn't have anything over there, so he looked bad. Desmond Ridder looked bad, but he came out and he showed his ass, dude. He was hooping. And on the other side of the ball, we talked a lot about Frankie Louvu and Bobby Wagner. Rightfully so. They have been absolutely phenomenal all season. But these last 2 weeks, Dante Fowler has been insane.
Yep.
Insane. Those three guys are a three-headed monster for a defense that nobody really expected to be on much. And your top corner is another guy who nobody really expected to be on much. I love the Commanders, and if we get stripped of Jaden Daniels versus Caleb Williams, I will be so sad, but I will be tuned in regardless because since Oregon, where he played in the national championship and got his ass whooped by Ohio State and Ezekiel Elliott, shout out Ezekiel Elliott, I have liked Marcus Mariota. And I'm so glad he's getting another chance.
And I was talking to because Joe was stressing out because he's a Commanders guy, and he literally called me when Jaden got hurt to see what was happening, like what's going on. At first, I don't know what he wanted me to do, as if I'm a team doctor and I could diagnose him. But I said, even if Jaden can't go for a couple weeks, this team should be fine because, like you said, Marcus Mariota. It looks like Jaden's gonna be okay. He was all smiles afterwards when he walked back out. But Marcus Mariota and Jaden Daniels, they can play the exact same way. Marcus Mariota can move just like, not as good as Jaden can because he's not as young and not as fast. But Marcus Mariota in his heyday was a scrambling guy just like how Jaden is. He can move and make throws off platform outside of the pocket. So this offense won't lose. It won't look too different. They'll be able to run the same things. Probably won't put up as many points and not be as productive, but they'll be able to do the same things as they did with Jaden. 40, yeah. 40. That's how old Zach Ertz is, and he's still catching touchdowns. Yeah, 40.
You see the tweet that went a little bit viral, and it was like Marcus Mariota touchdown to Zach Ertz, and it was like this was Chip Kelly's vision in 2014.
I didn't even see that, but no. And Terry McLaurin, we were saying it all season. He's
a dog,
man, bro. I'm so happy for him. I'm so happy for him, man. If they can trade for a stud corner. This team, they got it, bro. They got it. They're right there. They're right there. If they can just go trade for another guy who can cover, man, what else are they missing? They have all the pieces to go, make some noise in the NFC.
no disrespect to your Niners, but if you take out the NFC North, like just completely remove those 4 teams, I would say the Commanders are the best team in the NFC.
And Is that crazy? I can't be mad at you for saying that. I cannot be mad at you for saying
that. I don't got anything else to say about them though. Heal up. Actually, if Jaden Daniels misses they play the Bears next, and like I said, I want to see him versus Caleb. But if he does miss, the Bears aren't one of like the top dogs in the league, so they should still be able to compete. And then the week after, they got the Giants, who are the Giants.
Yep.
And then the week after, they had the Steelers, which again isn't a top dog. So they should be all right. And I don't see him missing more than 3 weeks. If he misses at all.
If he misses a game, yeah. Moving on, Sunday Night Football, Jets and Steelers. Moving on.
I believe. Now I could be wrong. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I think you missed the game. Go look through your pages real quick.
The Chiefs and Niners played. You got to. If you wanted to say anything about this game, go ahead. I forgot they played. Go ahead though.
The quarterback play in this game was
atrocious. Atrocious, man.
On both sides.
Everybody knows I'm a Brock Purdy guy. I love Brock Purdy through and through. I defend him, no matter what. But he was god awful, and I get it. There are excuses to be made for him, but no. Like I know you haven't had CMC all season. Debo plays 3 plays and can't play. Brandon Ayuk tears his ACL and MCL. Get well soon, BA. That's so sad. He's been an Iron Man throughout his career. Now he just blows his knee up.
Completely destroyed it, and he just laid there like on his chest for a while, and it's like, oh no.
Yep.
And Debo's in the hospital with his pneumonia stuff.
Yep.
That's scary.
I
hope he's okay as well.
You're throwing to 2 rookies in Jacob Cowing and Ricky Pearsall, who's making his debut. Shout out to him.
And Jawan Jennings was out before the game started.
Yep. So you're throwing to Jacob Cowing, Ricky Pearsall, and Ronnie Bell. So I get it. It's tough. There are not George has been our most consistent weapon this entire season. Our most consistent. He had 6 catches for 92 yards. He's been so consistent this year. He's been very good for us, man. But Brock, man, I know it's tough. We weren't getting any separation, no separation at all. But some of these interceptions were it's not, you can't justify them. It's not like, I saw what you were trying to do there. It's no, that interception in the red zone into double coverage to Chris Conley, he was throwing it to, by the way, not George Kittle or anything. To Chris Conley, even if he didn't, because he got hit and then it got picked. Even if he didn't get hit, it would have got picked regardless. He was throwing it into double coverage. I don't know what he saw. The throw to Ronnie Bell, he said in the postgame, Ronnie ran the right route. He just overshot him. He ran the right route. Ronnie Bell was open. He ran a good route. Brock Purdy just sailed it. And the first interception, again, Brock Purdy just didn't see.
I got a good buddy of mine. We won't say any names, but he streamed this game, and as he clicked stream, I was watching the Niners, and Brock, his first pick, he rolled back like 30 yards, and then threw it right to dude. Like it was a terrible pass. And this diehard Niners fan, a good buddy of mine, it was like terrible timing. It was some Call of Duty timing.
Yeah, I think it was like the second he went live, Brock threw the interception. Yeah, I know this dude you're talking about. Yeah. But that's the thing. At times I've said this season, Brock, it looks good if you're watching from an outsider perspective. Oh, Brock is running around making all these plays. It looks good, but at times this is what happens. We were just waiting for this to happen because it can't just be all perfect, Brock, when you're running around. But he's scrambling around trying to make plays that happen that are just not there. You don't have Brandon Ayuk. You don't have Debo. You don't have CMC. You can't make these plays that you were once able to. You're just not going to be able to do it when it's 2 rookies and Ronnie Bell you're throwing to. I just don't know what Purdy saw. He was just flustered. I said it from the beginning. It felt like the team just wanted it too bad. Like the offense just wanted it. Like they wanted to make the statement just because it was the Chiefs. We got to show we can beat these guys. And Trent Williams said before the game, whether we win or lose this game, like when the Chiefs beat us, there's confetti falling and a trophy ceremony afterwards. If we were to beat them, it's just on to next week. It wouldn't have mattered. It wouldn't have mattered. So this team just came in with the mindset of we have to beat the Chiefs. We have to beat the Chiefs. And it showed throughout the entire game. Fred Warner, who I love. I love Fred Warner. I think he's the best defensive player in the league. but you let Patrick Mahomes scoot by you on that fucking 30 fucking whatever yard run. Fred Warner can't get to him, takes a bad angle, and Pat runs right by him.
Well, he pisses me off. He wants to run, and then he gonna get hit half a second late and just cry about it.
Yeah.
And speaking of Trent Williams, his ejection was some bullshit. He got punched, like literally.
Yeah. As he's trying to get up, he gets hit, and yeah. But they always get the second guy, so I can't be mad at them for that. But man, yeah, this is a really disappointing loss. Now we're back to second in the division. Seahawks are 4-3. We're 3. No, I think we're even worse than that because the Cardinals are 3-4. We're 3-4, and the Cardinals beat us, so we're third in the division. It's looking rough for us, and we got a tough schedule coming up next, man. This, like I've said a couple of times, that first 5 games was supposed to be the easy part of the season, so we could take a couple of losses here. But we got the Cowboys, the Bucks, the Seahawks, the Packers, the Bills, the Bears. That's in a row, all 6 in a row. Cowboys, Bucks, Seahawks, Packers, Bills, Bears. That's our next 6 games. And at best, we go what 3-3, 4-2 in that stretch. Like that.
If you lose this week, just trade everybody.
This is bad. And to close out the season, we're gonna have Tua and the Dolphins. So Tua's gonna be all healed up by then. Should be back into form. We have the Lions, second to last week of the season. It's man.
Jordan Mason has his separated shoulder, and you can tell, dude. You can, because he's a back that you want playing physical, and he couldn't. He can't play as physical as he wants.
And without him playing physical, he doesn't have the greatest vision or the greatest one cut and I'm gone. He's definitely just gonna run.
They should have played Garindo more.
Man, this is a tough loss. Special teams continues to just fucking be our just pitiful. We stop them on a fake punt. They try to fake the punt on us, and we stop them. But then we give up a Mecole Hardman whatever yard return. We miss an extra point because we're down to our third kicker. Because our kickers have to cover on special teams, which your kickers should never have to do. We had 2 kickers had to make tackles back-to-back weeks. And another game where Kyle Shanahan just gets out-coached.
Oh, Lord, that's what I wanted to talk about. Whether it's Andy Reid or Spagnuolo, he's just getting cooked on both sides of the ball, dude. He has nothing to answer for when they're playing against the Chiefs. He looks like an absolute child playing against an NFL coach. And it's sad because he's supposedly one of the best coaches in football, and he just hasn't.
And I've been saying it. Kyle Shanahan gets painted by the media as this darling because he's the son of Mike Shanahan, an offensive genius with the Broncos. You know, he can do no wrong. But I'm not saying he's a bad. The Sean McVay, Kevin O'Connell, you know, it goes on and on. Matt LaFleur. And I'm not saying he's not good. He's probably a top 5 coach in the league, but he has glaring flaws. He can't manage a game. He has a system and he just sticks to that. Like, it's whoever we have, this is what we're rolling with. You have to adjust to who you have. Like, Andy Reid, the Chiefs are just as injured as we are out with their weapons. Look at who Patrick Mahomes is throwing to. But they're able to scheme their guys open because they can run these screen passes. Get Mahomes rolling out wide, then do a little sidearm to a tight end who's just sitting there on a fake block and release. Like, it's Kyle Shanahan's going to run the same plays, thinking he still has Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel, but no, it's Ricky Pearsall and Jacob Cowing now. You can't be running the same plays with these guys expecting us to perform at the same rate as we did with all pros. It's just not going to work that way. He just has this one philosophy that he's just dedicated to and just not willing to adjust based on the players that are in.
This is a terrible loss. Terrible loss.
And it's not because it's not because the fact that we lost. It's just in the fashion. We put up no fight. The Chiefs whooped our ass. This game should have been worse.
Moore was playing a lot of snaps, bro.
But we went on a garbage time touchdown one where Brock fucking QB snuck it in, and those were our 2 touchdowns, by the way. Two Brock Purdy quarterback sneaks. That lost you fantasy, him sneaking the ball in.
Yep.
But like I said, like we can't use the excuse that we were hurt. Like, yeah, we have a bunch of injuries and it's unfortunate, but the Chiefs are beat up as well, and we had them for the taking. We held Patrick Mahomes to his lowest passer rating ever. The DBs played phenomenal. Malik Mustafa played his ass off. There were so many times.
Kevin Burkhardt said at one point before he ran another play, Patrick Mahomes had more rushing yards than his quarterback rating.
Yeah, he was
more
bad.
rushing
Patrick
yards.
Mahomes was not good. Both quarterbacks were atrocious. We're god awful. But the second, Deommodore Lenoir has been playing like a Pro Bowler all season. He's playing his ass off. Malik Mustafa is flying across the field, making big hit after big hit. People, dude. He killed Xavier Worthy, but then after Patrick Mahomes got his lick back, I will say, on the goal line, Patrick Mahomes put Malik Mustafa on his ass.
He killed Kareem Hunt, too.
Like, my goodness, man. And the defensive line early, it looked like, oh, shit, this is going to be a game where this defensive line is going to get going and can sack Patrick Mahomes 6-7 times. But outside of those first couple drives, his defensive line was just non-existent. And it's always, I'm sorry to make this so long with the Niners, I always do, but it's always a thing with the Niners. If it's a quarterback that can move, we're going to get killed. No matter what. That's why Russell Wilson always gave us problems. That's why Kyler Murray getting drafted to the NFC West was the worst thing that could happen, because we have to play those guys 2 times a year. If a quarterback can move, we're getting our asses handed to us. I
cannot wait to talk about Kyler.
Our defensive line just is not disciplined enough, and they're just not staying in their rush lanes, and they're just going to rush past the quarterback, which leaves an open lane for him, whether he wants to run it for 10 yards or a first down, or whether he just wants to move up into the pocket and find someone open and just extend the play. This defensive line has always been like this. Nick Sorensen, my goodness, I know you're a first-time defensive coordinator, but my goodness, what did we fire Steve Wilkes for? What did we fire him for? We played and after the game, Kyle Shanahan was asked, did the Chiefs do anything different that you just weren't ready for? He goes, no, they did the same thing they did in the Super Bowl. So how the fuck were we not able to stop it? How the fuck were we not able to adjust to it? If they did the exact same thing, what did you do? Do the exact same thing too? You didn't adjust? It doesn't make any sense for as good as of a coach Kyle Shanahan is.
And
I know, but man, if you don't got anything else to say about this game, we can move on, man.
I didn't have anything to say like 10 minutes ago.
It's a disappointing loss, man. Brock, you got to play better. I love you, but that's unacceptable. All those picks were your fault, but we can move on, man. We can move on. Sunday Night Football, man. The Jets,
we talked about them a lot. The Jets at Steelers, by the way, the final score 15-37. We talked about this in your overreactions, 2 of your overreactions, by the way. We talked about both sides. We don't have to go into this a lot, but Gibson could not catch a punt to save his life early on. Before this game starts, or maybe it was middle game. No, it was before the game starts. It was announced that Hassan Reddick had ended his holdout, so he will start practice today. Actually, I think he practiced today. And on the other side of him, Will McDonald should continue to start. He's had a really good season. He was told last year he was too thin, and he came in this year and has been very surprising. The Steelers started slow, but they ended up just beating the brakes off of the Jets. The Jets had no answer.
It was 15-6. And it ended 37-15. Go continue.
If it wasn't Breece Hall, the Jets had nothing. And Aaron Rodgers is the type of quarterback to where if you fail him once, he's
not looking your way again
for a while.
Yeah.
And he threw the pass to Garrett Wilson. It was an absolute dime, and it hit Garrett Wilson right in the chest, and it bounced up for Beanie Bishop's second interception of the day. Yep. And the little clip of Devontae diving to catch him went a little bit viral on the 1-yard line. But shout out Beanie Bishop, dude. He had an amazing game. Justin Fields should not have gotten benched by any means, but Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson showed his ass.
If there was any way to shut us up, Russell Wilson, that's how you do it.
He did it.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. And then Mike Tomlin got asked about it, and he was like, "That's why I get paid the amount I do." Because the
only thing I'm upset with is that they said that they were going to play both quarterbacks, and Justin didn't play at all.
Yep.
So don't tell us that bullshit if you're not going to play him at all. But shout out Russell Wilson, and shout out Najee Harris, the guy that you absolutely despise for no reason, was great. He had a great game.
He had a good game. He had a very good game. But I said it when it happened. Devontae Adams was not what the Jets needed. They just didn't need him. A wide receiver wasn't their issue, and neither was Robert Saleh. Neither was he. Clearly, he was not the problem because nothing has changed since he's been fired. Literally nothing.
Their defense has gotten worse.
Breece Hall had a good game, but not on the ground. The run game was god-awful again. Breece Hall was 12 carries for 38 yards. Everything he did was through the air.
Since Robert Saleh got fired, Braylon Allen just doesn't get the ball anymore.
Like this team is bad, bro. Coming into the year, a lot of people had them as contenders. They're winning the AFC East, but enough is enough. Because I know I'm gonna go on Twitter and still see people trying to It's fine. No, the Jets can do this and this and this, and they'll still be contenders at the end of the season. They'll still be in the playoffs. It's over. It is over. I'm done with the Jets. I'm done, thinking the Jets can turn this around and be contenders. No, I said from the start, do not go get Devontae Adams. He's not what you need. It's going to turn the New York Jets into a soap opera. And that's all they are right now. That's all they are right now. It's just the zoom in of Aaron Rodgers' face every time something goes bad, and he's just all pissed and shit. You got Devontae Adams diving for Aaron Rodgers' hand.
It was gushing blood at one point, like early fourth or late third or something like that, and they ended up punting or something, and he got it healed up. But he was just I can't believe he didn't come out.
And shout out to the Steelers' special teams. They blocked, was it a field goal or something? And then they went and just started jumping all on the coach. Man, that was a really cool moment.
And that coach was like, I'm chomping on his gum the whole game, dude. And I don't know who was commentating this game, but they the Steelers hounded him at one point, and they said, yeah, he's not going to talk much, but when he does, he's going to get you fired up. And you can clearly tell that Steelers defense loves that coach, dude. And they've been one of the best special teams that we've seen in a long time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't think I had anything else to say about this game. Shout out to Russ. What I will say, Russ, he was something that Justin wasn't able to do. The Steelers got, like we said, they got the 2 interceptions, and they turned both of them into touchdowns. So that's something Russ brings to the offense. He's able to punch it in. Maybe that Justin wasn't. Justin would probably, turn those into field goals. Maybe not 2 scores, but Russ turned them into 2 touchdowns. But you disagree?
I think the best thing Justin was capable of was once you got to like the 30 and you were getting to the red zone, he was able to. They scored a lot. He just couldn't get the ball down the field.
It would have to be a long drive for Justin. It would have to be a well-developed drive where Russ can make it happen in a couple of plays. So I guess, I would still love to see Justin playing, but Russ, you did your thing, so I can't even, be mad at you.
And whoever commentated this game, I wish I knew who it was. I don't know if
Mike Tirico.
Maybe it was Olsen. I don't know, but the one guy was
Sunday night, so it was Mike Tirico and Chris Collinsworth.
It was definitely Collinsworth. Yes, you're right.
Sunday night,
and the one he was just begging for the deep ball. He kept saying Russell Wilson's deep ball,
and this is what we've seen. This is what we've seen. We're seeing shades of Seattle. Shout out to Russ.
And count your days, Russ. You did good. But you better not do too good now, because if you turn Georgia against Justin, we're gonna have issues.
And man, bro, that catch that George Pickens had, where like one arm was shielding off the defender, and he caught it. That connection with him and Russell Wilson looks like they've been playing together for forever now. But moving on,
and he had Muth hooping too, and he had best game of Muth season.
Oh, moving on,
come on, man.
Monday Night Football, the first of 2 Monday Night Football games. The Baltimore Ravens beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 41-31. We got a Jackson 5 today. Lamar Jackson threw 5 touchdowns. He looked great as always.
5 incompletions. He had the same amount of touchdowns as incompletions.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead. You're wearing his jersey. Go ahead.
He got another touchdown. I think Mark Andrews might have had 2 touchdowns.
Mark Andrews had 2. Mark Andrews
had 2 touchdowns. That makes me happy. I'm so glad Mark Andrews is back. But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defensive coordinator is goofy as hell. They blitzed Lamar Jackson a lot in this game, and that's just not the guy that you want to blitz. He absolutely picked it apart.
And it worked early. It worked early. Him sending pressure, and they got to Lamar early, but go ahead.
They started off up 7-0. They got the ball back, and they should have scored a touchdown. Chris Godwin caught a touchdown. Chris Godwin caught a touchdown, but they got called on holding, so they ended up kicking a field goal and went up 10-0. And after that, it was all Ravens, dude.
And they had another opportunity to score a touchdown, but then Mike Evans got hurt. He
dropped it,
and got hurt,
yeah. But when you play the Baltimore Ravens, you say they're going to run all over us. We're going to have to stop the run and let them pass. And Derrick Henry, he got a carry in the second half, and the commentator goes, "That's the first time he's touched the ball in an hour."
Yeah,
that's insane. And he ended up with 169 yards. So you didn't even need to use him.
They were saying it towards the end of the first half. Derrick Henry has never went a first half with less than 7 carries, and so it was like he had like 4 carries or something like that, or like 5-6 carries in the first half, and he still finishes with 169 yards for the game. Man. Last week I said the Lions are the best team in the league. It's tough to say that again. They did just beat the Vikings, who are undefeated. So it's really pick between the Ravens or the Lions.
It's the North.
The Ravens or the Lions, and I guess since the Chiefs are still undefeated, you can throw the Chiefs in there, but it's really down to those teams. The Ravens, after starting 0-2, have looked phenomenal, man. Phenomenal. And we were talking about...
they shouldn't even have lost to the Chiefs.
We were talking about that secondary. Marlon Humphrey, before he gets hurt, goes out there and gets 2 interceptions. 2 big-time interceptions that the Ravens turn into scores.
Hey, bro, real shit, the Ravens should be undefeated. That loss to the Raiders was so fluky.
What is should be? What do you mean by should be? What does that mean to you?
You know exactly what I mean.
No,
the loss to the Raiders was fluky as hell. They
lost, so it's not like it was a bad.
Obviously, they fucking lost.
It was not like it was a bad call, and that's what cost them. They were up and blew the game. So
that's why they lost their first game. A bad call.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 5-0.
What was the bad call in the first game? Am I not remembering?
It was a late pass interference that the Chiefs got called.
Oh, okay.
And they kicked the field goal to win it.
Okay.
And then, yeah,
wait, no, the Chiefs didn't kick the field goal to win it. It ended with the toe thing. It ended with the toe.
Yes, but how did the Chiefs take the lead?
My fault. I was just...
I don't even know if I'm right. They shouldn't have lost to the Chiefs.
Okay.
Whether the toe thing...
Mm-hmm.
I don't even fucking care about that point now. We're moving on to the next game. Chargers at Cardinals. Monday Night Football started at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific.
Hey, don't ever do this shit again, NFL. Don't ever do this shit again, Roger Goodell. Don't give us a 9 p.m. start game and then throw that shit on ESPN Plus at that. Don't ever do that shit again. Go ahead, though.
However, I absolutely loved it. This game was awesome, dude. As I said, I didn't get to watch much of the early game because I was watching the Ravens. But as the game went on, the Chargers had no rushing game. And that's what you want if you're Jim Harbaugh. You want to run the ball. But Roman over there, you said that he wants to use Herbert. And man, did he use Herbert. This was by far, in my opinion, Justin Herbert's best game of the season. He didn't have a touchdown. Mm-hmm. But he had 350 yards and just did whatever he wanted.
I commented on one of our TikToks. I was like, Justin Herbert's going to have 350 and 2 touchdowns. He got to 349, but had no touchdowns. It's 5 field goals.
He's throwing to Will Dissly. Mm-hmm. Will Dissly was doing whatever he wanted out there. The Cardinals couldn't stop him. Unfortunately, when you're throwing to Will Dissly, when you're throwing to Will Dissly and you got no run game, JK looked awful. You can't punch it in, so they kicked 5 field goals. Cameron Dicker was just absolutely awesome. He's one of the best kickers in the league. But you throw a bomb to Jalen Reagor. He catches a 41-yard pass. I didn't even know he was on the Chargers. But he catches a 41-yard pass, and he gets the bitch punched out immediately, and it's a touchback. The Cardinals get the ball. That's embarrassing, dude. That's embarrassing. Jalen Reagor, I liked you coming in, but you're bad. You're bad. Move on. Go sell cars somewhere. You're not an NFL receiver anymore.
Wow. All right.
Ladd McConkey is supposed to be their top guy. And Quentin Johnston, we didn't mention it. Quentin Johnston didn't play this game. Ladd McConkey was coming off an injury and looked bad. He couldn't do it. Like, he ended up with like 5 catches for 40-some yards. Mm-hmm. And that's a decent stat sheet. But if you watch the game, he wasn't really doing much. Josh Palmer was okay, but it was Will Dissly and heavy Will Dissly and Simi Fehoko. Simi Fehoko looked good. It was a Will Dissly catch, another guy catch, and then they had a third tight end. Stone Smart had a big catch late in the 4th. Justin Herbert, I'm sorry, bro. This isn't a game you should have lost. And on the other side, if they lose this game, Jonathan Gainwell looks like an absolute dumbass because it's 3rd and 1, and they bring in Clayton Tune. When you got one of the best playmakers at quarterback in Kyler Murray, you bring in Clayton Tune to do the tush push, and they fail. 4th and 1, they do it again, and they fail. The Chargers get the ball back. That is embarrassing. You're so dynamic in your backfield with Kyler and James Conner. James Conner ends up winning you in this game. They get the ball back after the Chargers kick a field goal. Yes. And Gannon said that like if he was sick or something and had to miss a game, and the commentators mentioned it 100 times, but Gannon said that he would want James Conner to coach the team, which is nuts. If you're an assistant coach on that team, it's like, damn, what do you say fuck me for? Yeah. But I love James Conner, dude. And if you know his story, it's even better.
Absolutely.
It's hard not to root for the guy. They interviewed Kyler Murray after the game, and it was like a 2-minute interview, and he said the same thing every time. It was like, every question they asked, it was like, we played a good 60 minutes of football, or I'm rocking with the guys, and they all. Kyler, you got to get better at your interviews. It was a terrible interview, but I love Kyler Murray, and I love
Justin
James Conner.
Herbert some help. Like I said, I didn't watch this game, wasn't able to watch this game. Get Justin Herbert some help, man. He's my favorite quarterback in the league. They have my former coach over there, Jim Harbaugh, who I love. Get Justin Herbert some damn help, please.
Bro, shout out Greg Roman. I cannot praise him more. They had nothing going in the run game, and you got Will Disley. I can't get over how good he had Will Disley looking. Shout out, dude. That's all I want to say. We can move on. That game was awesome. If you get a chance, go back and watch either the recap of it or the whole game, whatever you want to do. But please go back and watch as much of that game as you can, because it was fun. Very good game. And the score is like 17-15, not a single touchdown for the Chargers.
Yeah.
But it's like the Giants, when the Giants scored 15 points and they couldn't punch them in. They looked good. Yeah. They looked good. They just couldn't pull it off.
That's it for all the games this week. A week coming in that we thought would have a lot of great games, and it had some good games in there, but a lot of stinkers, a lot of games.
I enjoyed this week.
I did as well, for what it's worth. Besides, but I enjoyed this.
If you give me this week or last week, where we both should have picked literally every game last week correctly,
absolutely,
it's a no-brainer.
But we didn't mention it. But there were we mentioned it early, but we skipped past in some of the games where it happened. Like Chris Godwin late in the game broke his ankle. He's out indefinitely, probably for the season.
Mike Evans destroyed,
and you could hear Mike Evans on the ground. He was screaming.
He literally yelled "fuck," man.
You could hear it on the broadcast. Yeah, you could hear him screaming. But we already mentioned Brandon Ayuk tearing his ACL. Jaden Daniels getting hurt. Deshaun Watson tearing his Achilles. I feel like there's another.
There was a lot of running backs that got
there was just a lot of injuries this weekend, and a few of them are long term out for the season. So prayers up to those guys. Hopefully they get well soon. But
absolutely,
before we get out of here, we got to make our predictions for Thursday Night Football. We got Vikings and Rams. Cooper Kupp should be back this week on Thursday, but I don't think that's going to matter too much. I think the Vikings bounce back against a horrid defense. Sam Darnold will probably play his ass off. JJ will probably go for 150. Aaron Jones will continue to do his thing, and the Vikings are going to mop the floor with the Rams on Thursday.
I like the Rams. They're young as hell, so they're not great, but I think they're kind of fun to watch between Kyren Williams and then whoever you want to throw it to when you got Stafford.
I think
they're okay, but I do think the Vikings will just beat the shit out of them.
We'll get there as this, in a couple of weeks, but I think the Rams should be looking to see what you can get for Cooper Kupp. Like, you're a young team, you're going in a new direction. Matthew Stafford, this is probably his last season here, whether it's he just wants to go ride it out with someone else, try one more shot at a Super Bowl, or whether he's just going to retire. It's a new era with the Rams, and whether Sean McVay's going to be there or not, you got Cooper.
I don't think he will be.
You got Puka to build around as your go-to guy now. Just see what you can get for Cooper Kupp, get some assets, and, build towards the future. But yeah, we'll get there in a couple of weeks towards the trade deadline. But I think that's
Lamar
it.
Jackson would love Cooper Kupp.
I think that's it, unless you have anything else you wanted to add. Is there anything I'm forgetting?
For Thursday Night Football?
No, like any other segment.
Just in total?
Anything, yeah.
Before we get out of here, I would like to do the quarterback rankings.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead.
We've done it the last couple of weeks. This is my quarterback rankings. It has nothing to do with predictions. It's just solely on what they've done this season. It doesn't have a lot to do with name. As you'll see, Pat Mahomes is the best quarterback in football. I don't have him in my top 10 so far this season. He's been bad.
We talked about it a lot, a little bit before we started recording. And you told me Pat wasn't off the list, but Brock still is on the list, which is a little surprising, honestly, and based off how you did it, because last week I thought he balled last week. It was probably his best game of the season. But you were like, nah, he dropped this week just because of what some of the other guys did.
I was surprised. Guys played better.
Yeah, and I was surprised to see he's still on the list after this performance he had. This is honestly probably his worst game of his career.
This was a bad week for quarterbacks, though.
Yeah, other than that Ravens game he had last year where he threw 4 interceptions. But some of those interceptions weren't on him. It got tipped, but these were all on him, so I'm surprised he still made the list. But go ahead. Let me not spoil too much. So go ahead.
He's had a good season, though, is the whole point of it. He was absolutely god-awful, or I think I could have played better than he did, but... I'm sorry. Starting at 10, a guy that fell a lot since last week, I got C.J. Stroud.
That's fair, because if you look at C.J. Stroud's season in totality, I think I said this last week too. It hasn't been amazing. It hasn't been a great season for C.J. Stroud. We know what he is. We know what he can be. We know he's one of the top 10 quarterbacks. Hell, probably top 7, 6, maybe at his peak, he's probably a top 5 quarterback. But he hasn't been great this season. That offense hasn't been able to put it together a lot of the time. So I can't be too mad at you for putting him at 10.
At number 9, I do believe there's a chance where he falls off this list next week if he doesn't pick it up.
Mm-hmm.
I got Brock Purdy. He's not real high on the list. Yeah. He's the same spot as last week, but I believe he's had a good season, especially with the amount of injuries that they've had to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
And if he doesn't figure something out, he will fall.
And rightfully so. I can't be mad at you. He's coming off, I think, his worst game of his career. He was not good, so I can't be mad at you at all.
And number 8, we have a guy that is back on the list after missing last week.
Let me guess. Geno? Yeah, rightfully so. I said he should have been on the list when we first did this. Then he went out there and had a stinker. Yeah, he was. Then he went out there and had a stinker against the Niners. And now, rightfully so, I think this is a good spot for Geno.
And number 7 is kind of crazy because he hasn't been on this list yet. He's going from unranked to number 7.
It has to be Jared Goff.
It is Jared Goff.
It has to be. And if he would have started this season even mediocre to good, he'd be top 4. A lot higher. But yeah, Jared Goff, he's been balling. I think it's him and Lamar for MVP right now, the 1 and 2. He's playing his ass off right now. His ass off, man. Shout out Jared Goff. And I didn't mention it, but I said he would be able to do things against this Vikings defense who gets a lot of pressure on people. That Lions line held, we didn't say it when we were talking about, the Lions line held up. They did their thing because that line is phenomenal. And Jared Goff was able to get the ball out and make plays and play action. He's always been a great play action quarterback and being able to get the ball out quick. But
he praised Brian Flores too, which is kind of cool.
And the one Amon-Ra, it's like we're doing the fucking review again, but the Amon-Ra touchdown, he trusted his guys. He sat in that pocket.
That's one of the best plays of his career.
They brought the heat, and he stood there, took it, and just found Amon-Ra beautiful pass to. Yeah, go ahead though, continue.
It was in the money. Mm-hmm. But at number 6, I got Baker Mayfield. He didn't have the best game of his season so far this week, but he stays at 6. Mm-hmm. His season in totality has been good. Mm-hmm. Shout out Baker.
Yeah,
I'm curious to see how they look the rest of the season, especially if Mike Evans has to miss an extended period of time. But it looks like Godwin will be out a while.
Godwin's out a while, and Mike Evans is definitely out a few games, I think. I wouldn't be surprised if Mike Evans heads to IR. I would not be surprised at all because he was already limping. And Baker said before the game, I'm only going to target him in the red zone, which is what he really did. It was only in the red zone to score a touchdown. That's the only time he targeted Mike Evans. And the first one, you're like, oh, okay, Mike Evans scores. Baker's plan is working. But he does it again, and Mike Evans just can't come down with it, and he's screaming his ass off on the ground. So I think he heads to IR, and you don't have Chris Godwin already, so they're going to have to rely heavily on that run game, and I don't know. We'll see. I don't know how much longer. I don't know how much longer Baker's going to be on the list, and it's not because of him. You lost your top 2 guys. So, but go ahead.
And whether it's Jalen McMillan or their tight end who looked really good this week, K-Dot, and shout out to him. Mm-hmm. He's going to have to figure something out. At number 5, I got a guy who's been at number 5 all 3 times I've done this, Sam Darnold.
That's fair. I don't really have much to do that.
He's been too good to fall anywhere, but he hasn't been good enough to contend with the top 4 guys.
It's a different level. That top 4 is, it's a different
He's
level.
Just in the middle. He's better than these guys, but he's not up here. Absolutely. And it's just Sam Darnold.
And chilling. Like you said, that one mistake he had, it was a Sam Darnold of old play. It was that's the Sam Darnold you saw with the Jets or the Panthers.
And he looked at Aaron Jones too, dude, and then he just said, "Nah, you're too open," and he throws it into the double coverage. Just doing too much.
So I'm hoping that's not a sign of things to come for Sam Darnold because he before the bye he had his worst game of the season. Then he wasn't bad. It's not like he was god awful, but seeing that interception wasn't a good sign.
That was literally his only mistake all game.
Yeah. So I hope this isn't a sign of things to come and he's gonna make those plays. But yeah, I think this is a pretty good spot for Sam Darnold.
At number 4, unfortunately, I have it. The top 3 in my list this week all balled out, and this guy got hurt early on. Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, it really sucks because he didn't do anything wrong. He just got hurt.
Yeah, and he's been so good, dude.
Absolutely.
The top 3 are the top 3.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3, I got Josh Allen.
Yeah. Yep.
Not a whole lot to say. He was very good. Mm-hmm. They started down early, like we said, but after that, he did whatever he wanted to on that football field.
Absolutely.
Number 2 is still Joe Burrow.
Man, if the Bengals can get right and get into the playoffs, Joe Burrow's my MVP. I do not care if the Bengals get into the playoffs. Joe Burrow is my MVP. If they can
he's
win,
been good.
If they can win 10,
he's been so good.
If they can win 10 or 11 games, Joe Burrow is my damn MVP, bro. Because he is playing his ass off. But go ahead, continue with the list. We know who number 1 is.
At number 1, I got the actual MVP, and I will say it for as long as he's in this spot: the best quarterback in football, Lamar Jackson.
Now, continue to dispute that. He is not the best quarterback in football. He is playing the best football right now, but he is not the best quarterback in football. But I cannot be mad at.
He's the best quarterback in football.
Lamar Jackson, number 1. Okay. God, I just can't with you, bro. You gotta stop saying that, bro, because it just comes to a point where we just Pat's in a tier of his own. He's Pat Mahomes. It's number 1, and it's like LeBron. It's like LeBron back. We tried to. Oh, is this guy the best in the league? Is this guy the best? No, it was always LeBron. Whenever anybody else was winning MVP, Kevin Durant snuck his one in 2014. It was always LeBron was the best in the league. We tried to make the case for somebody else, but no. It was always LeBron. It's as long as Pat is in the league, he's the best in the league. But we're gonna do the same thing we did. We're gonna do the same thing we did with LeBron and with Pat, where it's gonna be like we're gonna make these cases, but by the end of Patrick Mahomes' career, we'll be like nobody was close. Nobody touched him at any point in it. He was always the best, and there was no debate. But go ahead. By the end, it's gonna be the same thing with LeBron. Pat Mahomes should have had fucking 12 MVPs, but he's only finishing with 3 because they just got tired of giving it to him.
It's a regular season award. That's the regular season is not the playoffs. Right now, Lamar Jackson has been the best regular season quarterback. Once it comes to those playoffs, I will never dispute Patrick Mahomes. He's Patrick Mahomes. That's all you got to say.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Patrick Mahomes giving us hell for as long as he's been in the league. But
it sucks he's going to have to lose this year.
We'll see. We'll get there when we get there. But another episode in the books. I think we forgot to say it at the top of the show, but
oh my gosh,
we did.
I've been good about it lately.
Yeah, too. But if you made it this far, leave a like because you obviously enjoyed it. So if you made it this far, you stuck around for a reason. So you may as well just leave a like, leave a comment, go to the TikTok. We've been, doing some decent numbers over there, getting some good interactions with people, having some we always, respond to the TikToks. A lot of the times where, we're having a conversation in there. I'm sure there'll be a lot of conversation about the top 10 list this week, some of the recaps, the overreactions. So go, drop a follow over there if you haven't already. Sub up over here. Tell a friend. I think we're at like 53 subs or something like that right now. So yeah, unless you got anything you want to add, we can.
I love you all. As always, appreciate you for watching. Take my ass to bed.
And we'll see you guys on Friday.